Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I want to go through my ride or dies, the champions that I have used the most, the champions that I do use the most. And I think actually some of these will probably surprise you. There'll be some in here in the mix which you probably could guess right now. Try it. Guess down below. Pick 5 champions that you think I'm going to call out in this video. But I will be shocked if you would be able to guess all of the champions that I'm going to pick out, because some of them, they just keep coming back. Yeah, I might have used them a long time ago, and I'm like, you know what? They're still my go-to champions, even now, like 2.5 years on. So let's get into it. Let's pick out my ride or dies on Raid. Okay, we're going to start off with the only uncommon on the list, Armada. I'm sure you guys could have guessed this one, but actually came back into teams again and again. The final kind of stage, the final build I've got him in here is a Scarab boss one. I don't need him for that anymore because I've got someone that can solo it, but Armada, right through my account, was active. He's been in Fire Knight teams, he's been in Spider teams, he's been a ton of different Doom Tower teams, and even when you hit that kind of level 21 to 25, he ends up being one of the best enemy max HP champions because he gets it back on such a low cooldown, and because you can only do a max level of 10% of the boss's health, he actually has it on a short cooldown, which means he gets back to it a lot quicker than a bunch of the other ones. So Armada still in there as one of the best endgame enemy max HP champions. Let's go on to a couple of rares which don't get into my teams anymore, but have been in and amongst my teams right through playing Raid. Nullhorn is an insane rare. People don't get it. I try and talk it up on streams. They're like, no, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. This dude is insane. AoE provoke on a place, so it doesn't matter about affinity. Whilst giving himself an increased defense buff, then making himself unkillable. He is literally just one of the best champions to lock out waves of enemies. So even if you are struggling with high-end Doom Tower and you're needing to work back to abilities again, Nullhorn can give you that space. So for any account, Nullhorn is actually super cool. Really good champ. Apothecary as well. He's not in any of my teams anymore, but up until quite recently, he still found his way into my endgame Fire Knight teams. And I used him a bunch going through the game in Doom Tower and various teams. Like, he's just a solid rare. Other than that, the only other rare, no, 2 other rares. 2 rares that kind of fit into my teams now. Coldheart, still got 2 built out and both being used. So Coldheart still features. Right now, she's kind of moved into this savage, high damage Spider build where, in fact, I don't even need the crit damage I've got anymore because with Spider, I can only hit a maximum of 10%, but more of a survivability build, enough accuracy to do a job. And yeah, she just does her job. She does the enemy max HP, 10% hit, and she smacks. Yeah, so Coldheart, really, really great champion. She's been in teams since I've had her. Right through, I was using 2 of them in Fire Knight up until recently. She's just an absolutely insanely good champion. So Coldheart, no surprises there. Renegade, favoured in my current level 25 Fire Knight team over Kaimar. People are like, why are you using Renegade? And I use her in a shield set, which gives me more buffs to rip off. Kind of see that playing out here. We use a Renegade because she does the same ability as Kaimar, in effect. I get my main abilities back at the right time using my Renegade. She doesn't reset to full, but she resets by 2 turns. But the reason why she's so effective on Fire Knight is because she gives us this triple hit, which Kaimar doesn't do. Kaimar's all single hits. And the triple hit actually can put decreased speed on the Fire Knight boss. Really useful for level 25 because you do not want him getting a turn. And that is just, that's the main advantage. It's actually a really great A2 for Fire Knight. Heal reduction as well, just in case he does get a turn. It's actually pretty useful as well. So Renegade, still in endgame teams for me. Right now, you know, we're talking about an account that is fully stacked. Okay, let's move on to the epics that still get a look in. Probably a few of the main ones. This row, Allure. Allure has been in my Fire Knight team, again, forever and a day. And she is the reason that I can run the sort of team that I run on Fire Knight 25. Her A1 is the best turn meter control ability in the game if you're up against a single enemy. It's at random, so it can spray it out, but against a single target like a Fire Knight, It is the best ability in the game. It's a triple hit. She does need a lot of stats to be good. She actually hits kind of hard. She's got this AoE hit here. She's got this Nuka ability here. But generally, people don't have the gear to make her hit hard. And even I don't really. Like, I would love for this to be a savage build, but I need for my particular team, I need a fast, I need good accuracy, and then I've gone damage. And honestly, even with a low crit rate, 87%, I'm still only pushing 169 crit damage, which is laughable considering the gear that I own. But yeah, Allure has been in just about every iteration of my finite team. One of the champions which I'm really pleased that he's come back into a team, because I was running 2 Royal Guards for a long time when we had level 20 dungeons. And Royal Guard I got quite early on, and I've used him right through the game, right through playing Raid. He's now come back into my finite team, as you can see, or as you've seen. He also plays in a couple of other Doom Tower teams if I need him, but really solid champion. Again, an enemy max HP champion. Most of the ones I've called out so far are actually in Savage Gear in this setup, because I need him to do a lot of damage on waves. So his build has changed throughout the kind of time that I played the game. Now he's in a full damage build with Savage Gear, pretty hard hitting build. And 85% crit rate, because he is the positive affinity for the main content I use him in now, which is that finite run. People will probably be asking that, why 85? You actually get 15% crit rate bonus if you're the positive affinity. A lot of people don't know that. But yeah, still used and still super solid, mainly because of this AoE enemy max HP steal. But also, for endgame stuff, the 4-hitter with a decreased speed on it is actually really good, especially against Finite. And he's also got a drop defense A1 as well. So a couple more things in this kit that people don't really realize exist. Geomancer. This dude is freaking awesome. If you want a Spiderling tank, he's probably the best one in the game. But for me, in my account, he's actually just in a bunch of Doom Tower teams. So when he takes a hit, once this burn is out there and he takes a hit, he is punching back insane levels of damage. I also use him in my Hydra setups because, again, same reason, he puts out a ton of damage with this ability. So Geo, he's kind of like one of the first champions I look for on a roster when I do an account takeover, because he's just so versatile. He is one of the best champions in tons of content. Really, really strong epic. Seer gets into my Dragon team. Seer's everywhere for me, honestly. Dragon 25 team, Finite 25 team. She's my wave killer for Doom Tower. Basically want her alongside a reset, but this AoE ability on her A3 is probably one of the best abilities in the whole game. Power up with buffs, rip them off your team, and you do a ton of damage. I've got mine in a savage build because I need high damage to get the type of run I'm doing in Finite done. 317 crit damage. But I've also got high accuracy for Doom Tower waves. So this, again, this build is very hard to achieve. As an endgame player, it's still hard to achieve. But I'm kind of over-indexing on a load of stats to get the fast runs going that I do. You don't actually need the accuracy at all unless you're planning to rip buffs off of the enemy. So I do rip buffs off of Doom Tower waves if I don't get a full clear going first time. But yeah, super, super cool champion. Skullcrown was actually my first Void champion that I got. And I used her as my campaign farmer right through the game up until I got ethos, which I'll show you in a sec. I've used her in blender teams for most of the time that I've played arena, or at least as an arena champion for most of the time that I played arena. Now she's in a blender team. Since I've stopped doing blenders, I've actually just pushed her into a stun set that you can see here, and she plays in things like Faction Wars still, and she plays in some secret rooms, like a Void Epic secret room. So she still is super versatile, really strong champion, and again, another kind of one of those that I look out for. I don't use her as much right now that I used to, but I've used her a ton over the time that I've played Raid. Madame, still a go-to for me in the arena. This is one that I built out for max damage. That's why she's looking weird. But still a go-to for the arena if you're looking to rip off a ton of buffs. High accuracy, high high speed kind of build. I'm going to show you my other one so you don't think I'm lying. Here you go. High accuracy, good speed, and then good defensive stats. If you could go all perception gear, that's kind of like the dream, but you really just want to make sure that you've got good stats on your Madame. And she is someone that I've used, again, pretty much since she was released, and I got her in the arena. So she is a top quality epic. Let's get onto the legendaries then. The ones which, yeah, probably this way you might find some surprises. So not until recently, until I kind of class myself as actually endgame, did I start to use Ghostburn a ton. He was in my Spider 20 team back in the day. So the reason why Ghostburn is so good is because his A3 cannot be resisted. And you're probably like, yeah, but I've got a load of 100% decreased defense champions. Yeah, you have, but they can be resisted. And with every single hit that you do, there's a 3% chance that there's going to be a resist. Every single hit, unless it says this debuff cannot be resisted. So yeah, because I'm now looking for 100% teams on every kind of content that I do, Ghostburn actually comes into my Dragon 25, my Fire Knight 25, but also I use him a lot in Doom Tower waves as well if I need a drop defense champion. So he just comes in as the most consistent one that I own. He's also got some pretty good, he hits kind of hard. He's got some good skill as well, but the main thing is his A3 here. Coming through the game, I first had Martyr, and she was in pretty much every clan boss team that I ran. I then got Valve, because she was in every clan boss team after that I ran, until I've got my current team. So these two, although they're not kind of currently super active, they've been crazy good for my account across the time. Duchess is the next one to call out then. So if I ever get to a piece of content where I'm like, this is starting to get difficult, I'm struggling to beat this, I throw in Duchess. She makes every content easier to beat. She doesn't make it quicker to beat, by the way. She makes it easier. So she tends to slow down runs because she's not a hard hitter. She doesn't bring a lot of offensive impact, but she brings massive survivability for your teams. Currently, I run her in every iteration of Hydra that I can, so I've managed to get 2. In fact, I got more than 2, which is very lucky. So I actually run 2 separate ones in 2 different Hydra setups. She's also in just about every arena defense I can like imagine to build. And yeah, again, like if there's a section of Doom Tower where I'm struggling with my Seer comp, I actually flip out to a control-based team with Duchess just reviving people that are going down. And that is really effective. So it's mainly about her AoE block debuffs with the Veils. It's about her full team revive. And it's about this crazy passive. Really solid passive. Decreases the damage you take from AoEs. Just such a great champion. Okay, Calvalax, since I got him, has been an awesome champion and a lot of fun, honestly. He's in my Dragon 25 team. He's not in any other sort of endgame teams. No, sorry. Ice Golem as well. My Ice Golem 25 as well. I don't really run a lot of Ice Golem, though. But yeah, Calvalax, I mean, he's just a freaking awesome champion. Like, such a fun champion to play around with. But yeah, mainly for me, it's Dragon 25. Prince Kaimar. My first or second, I think he was actually my first legendary champion. And I've used him all the time. Throughout the whole time that I've played Raid, I've used him. And now he's arguably a top 3 legendary in the game, including all Void champions. And his value just seems to grow and grow. With everything that Raid release, his value grows some more. So before kind of current iterations of Raid, I was using him a lot for this ability, like a reset. So we'd basically lay nukes, he'd reset, lay nukes again, a bit similar to what I talked about with Renegade. But now you've got situations where you've got Hydra. The Hydra boss is playing a load of buffs that you need to clear off. That's where the A2 comes in. So you've got to clear now, full buff cleanse or clear down, and a reset. You've also got in the arena tons of buffs that you've got to get rid of. If you can get rid of them and sleep the enemy as well, even better, especially with reaction gear being a thing, swift parry being a thing, stone skin being a thing. It's just such a solid ability when paired with this reset. So he becomes absolutely top draw in the game. And again, my one built pretty similar actually to my Madame, however much faster. So we've got high speed, high accuracy on the Kaimar. And I've got, again, I'm lucky to have a couple of Kaimars. One of the few champions that I would build 2 of and have built 2 of, a bit like Duchess. I use them in a ton of places in the game. Other ones in the mix. Trunda as my sort of full Nuka, constantly used in the arena since I've got her. She is flexing those thighs. Just full damage powerhouse. I actually do use her in my Hydra team as well, because she is nutty when you destroy heads. Absolutely mental with her A2 when you pop a head on Hydra. Rotus has been just in and out of the meta, but for me, he's been consistent. He's been in arena teams where I need more consistency, less just kind of raw damage. But he also has been in my Griffin team pretty much since Griffin came out, and he's got tons of survivability in that. He can play in Scarab Boss as well, and he's been in a bunch of different kind of Ice Golem teams that I built, but mainly arena, and then he kind of flexes into other stuff here and there. Seal is still someone that pops up. She's in a different build, or not built right now because I built her max damage. This is what you'll find with a lot of my champions. I build someone for max damage, and I forget that I haven't built them back. But she has been one of those champions that just kind of pops in to help me with Doom Tower where I need her. She can play, honestly, anywhere in the game. But for my account, I don't use her a lot because I don't really need her a lot. She's in my faction war team and stuff like that. But she has been a kind of, you know, a staple in every team that I've run up until the point where I kind of outgrew her, honestly. Rogney is someone, so he's in my Clan Boss team now. He can play anywhere in the game and does play in a bunch of my other Doom Tower teams as well. Rogney is like one of the best legendaries in the game for general content. Super, super solid. And yeah, for me, in a Clan Boss setup right now. Ninja, kind of similar, can play anywhere in the game. He's played for me in all sorts of teams, but now it's mainly Doom Tower boss killer. A bit like a Geo, he absolutely burns bosses to the ground. Such a strong champion. Really, really good. Bad L has been a fundamental for me right through playing Raid since I've got him. He's been in umpteen different Clan Boss iterations that I've built out. He's in currently my Dragon 25 team. He's been in my Seer comps along the way. Just, again, a really solid, insane legendary champion that has kind of pulled me through content. Coming up here, you probably are expecting to see a few more, but Drex is someone that still gets a ton of playtime for me in endgame Doom Tower comps. Really solid. Just for me, it's just a survivability build with lots of accuracy. Regen set would also be a good option to go on him to just keep him alive, but I've gone for Giant Slayer on his mastery, and really he's just in there to be hit to put burns out on enemies, and he's so good at doing it. If you're ever struggling in a Doom Tower kind of setup, he's really the guy that generally will come in alongside that Duchess and get the job done. Okay then, so moving on to the Void legendary champions, the ones that I use a lot. Warlord, my first Void legendary champion. I remember pulling him, and in chat I was like, is this guy any good? Everyone was like, whoa, Warlord's insane. Back then, he wasn't insane in the same way that he is now. Back then, he was like a Clan Boss killer. So his A1, with the ability to increase debuffs, was kind of mainly seen as a Clan Boss sort of setup. And yeah, I mean, he was good in the arena, but wasn't widely used in the arena. Mainly because it was all about speed teams and trying to nuke people down. Nowadays, this guy is like the best arena champion that you can get. He's in pretty much every single plat level arena team if someone's got him. With a good, there's a number of different builds you can do actually, but generally it's high speed, good accuracy. Just try and lock out the full enemy team. It's kind of nuts. And yeah, his A3 is one of the best abilities in the game. It's almost the opposite of a Kaimar ability, just locking out the whole enemy skills. His A2 is good as well. Just for me, he was Clan Boss. Now he's arena. He's also someone that if I'm struggling to beat content, a bit like Duchess really, because I'm taking so much damage, I bring him in, and actually he does a lot of support with his A2. So Warlord played for me right through the game. Okay, other ones then. So Ethos, as soon as I got him, became my campaign farmer, became my high damage Nuka. He's been in various different teams for me, but he kind of remains someone that just kind of pops up when I need someone to do AoE damage or if I want a campaign farmer going on. But interestingly, I don't farm campaign that much anymore. So, I tend to use brews and stuff. So he actually, for someone who's so good, doesn't play in that many teams for me anymore. Arbiter, a staple in the arena, a staple in a lot of my teams as I progressed through the game. Still insanely good, still so worth getting if you can. Currently, I just kind of run her as a speed booster, arena-style champion. I did have a second one in like immunity gear until did her for max damage. But yeah, just honestly, everything you expect her to be. A reviver, a speed unit, someone who keeps your team going, but also increases your damage. Just such a good champ. Lydia, probably now, maybe now my most used champion. In the most teams that I own, I think. She is awesome alongside a seer for a seer comp. She's awesome. She's currently in my clan boss team. She's awesome in clan boss. She's pretty much ridiculous anywhere in the game. But funny thing is, she's in the most teams that I own. I don't feel like she's broken. Maybe she is. Maybe I'm delusional to it. I feel like she's worth the investment in faction wars as you go through. I feel like she's insanely good and her kit is so great. I just don't feel like she's busted. I don't feel like she's someone who needs a nerf. So Lydia just used so much, mainly because of her A2. The rest of her kit is kind of okay, but her A2 is brilliant. AoE, drop defense and weaken, putting 2 buffs on all of your team as well, and they're great ones, strengthen and increase speed. She plays, as I say, in my kind of endgame clan boss setup. Although I could switch to like a man-eater team if I wanted to. And yeah, she's just in pretty much any Doom Tower setup that I do. Fire Knight 25, Dragon 25. Like, she's just everywhere. Other champions. So Euros has become my Scarab boss killer. Just such an easy one to solo with. As soon as I got him, that's where he goes. Again, one of those champions, if I'm struggling to beat content, because he's got naturally high base stats, and because he does damage from being hit, a bit like Drex, he puts poisons out. He just becomes useful if you're struggling to beat content. This guy's a Doom Tower one, though, so you would have to have already beaten up Doom Tower quite a lot before you got him, so you're probably in a strong place anyway. But yeah, Euros, I use a ton. So that's going to be it. That's like my main champions. Sorry, apart from Sifi. I miss Sifi. Sifi is, again, arena-based champion for me. And just one of the champions that as soon as I got her, I've used her a ton. And I still do. Speed, speed, speed. Her alongside a Rotus is nutty. Her alongside 2 Rotus is even crazier. And yeah, she is kind of someone that will just pop up in mainly arena-based teams for me. So there you go, guys. That's my ride or dies. Did I kind of cover off the list for you guys, or was there other ones you was expecting me to say? Let me know yours down below in a message. I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.